For waking up with us here on the Daily Brew. A happy Monday. Pretty good weekend, not bad weather-wise, but I think the big story coming out of the weekend, which has been, going week 2 now, the Arkansas manhunt for that escaped prisoner, Grant Harden.
Yeah, it's wild. This has become something that is national news at this point. You've got every national outlet covering it. You've got people all over the country looking for them.
Yeah.
I was talking to my friend this weekend. Her parents live in Kansas City, and they were calling her like, oh my goodness, this guy on the loose, be careful out there. You've got people from all over the country kind of worried about this area.
Absolutely. And if you're not familiar, Grant Harden, he escaped from a prison in Calico Rock last Sunday. Search teams have been using every means necessary to find him: drones, dogs, horseback, ATVs, aircrafts, all of it. So the big question is, where is he, right? A lot of people think maybe, he's gone by now.
I think he's long gone.
Or that he's still in the area, but, police really concentrating their search still in that area. But I'm just thinking, if he's been out there this long, I mean, he's not in good shape. He can't make it much longer if that's the case, if he's hunkered down.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Unless he had help, right? Maybe someone put some food and water somewhere for him, but you would think those canines would be able to kind of sniff that out.
Yeah, and Arkansas investigators sort of looking into what happened, trying to figure all of that out. No solid answers right now. A lot of possible sightings of him coming in. We've had some, all over the place, even in Sebastian County, one came in, but nothing panning out at this time.
And I feel like you really didn't start hearing about possible sightings until that reward money was offered, right?
Which has went up now.
Yes, it's now up to $20,000, started at 10. And so I think when there's $20,000 on the line, people are looking a little bit more closely. I think a lot of people kind of wanted to stay out of it. They just want to keep their distance, right?
And I think a lot of, too, really paying attention to what's coming out on this, because, I mean, we're talking about someone who investigators are calling an extremely dangerous person.
Well, and
convicted of murder, convicted of rape.
Well, there's that documentary, too, that came out after
Have you seen
found out
that?
it was him.
I've not seen it, no.
Called Devil of the Ozarks, and it's literally about him. So the fact that a documentary has been made about him with the name Devil of the Ozarks just goes to show you this is a dangerous guy.
Right. Yeah, definitely. And it depicts whenever he was convicted of shooting and killing James Appleton back in 2017. It sort of shares the story of what happened there, and how that all went down. So if you haven't seen it yet, definitely look at that. But this is just some video here of some of the areas they've been searching. So still a lot of people keeping their eye out there. No confirmed sightings as of now, but Arkansas, surrounding states, certainly on high alert looking for him.
Yeah, another thing on that documentary that I feel like you don't see this often, you hear from the rape victim as well, and her side of the story on all of this. And so you think about those victims, the family of the man who was killed.
Yeah.
We've heard from his sister multiple times how they're worried, they're scared he's going to come for them now, they're scared for other people. And then you think about that victim from years ago, her and her family. There was a little bit of closure there with him locked up. And now you've got these people on high alert yet again.
Absolutely. Of course, we'll keep an eye on it. We'll bring you any updates here from 5 News as we get those. But let's talk about something else coming out over the weekend that's kind of went viral. Have you guys seen this? A commercial truck that was hauling thousands, an estimated 70,000 pounds of live honeybees.
Oh, no.
It overturned on a road, and it was outside of Seattle, Washington. Take a look at the video. So all of those bees sort of go everywhere, right? And they had to sort of clear that area out, shut that road down for a couple of days. I mean, because we're talking, millions of bees, millions.
I think that I would be staying in my house for the next week or so. Because they're probably so, they're misplaced. They're scared, and that's when they sting, is when they're scared.
Right. And, I think the best thing they could do, they brought in bee experts, of course, but they sort of kind of left all of those hives there. So what you do is you find the queen bee, okay? Because the other bees are going to stick with the queen. So they left it there, found the queen, so they would all sort of rehive in that area so they could, save the bees and also clean that area up.
Yeah, can you imagine you're just driving and you start seeing all these bees swarming in the area before they could do anything, and then you're trying to help out there on the scene, as an officer, and there's bees swarming everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, I wonder if they were in suits when they responded to this.
I feel like you got to be, right? And I feel like as a beekeeper, I mean, kind of to flip it on this side, it's almost like your World Series, right? Like, all right, I was called for this. I'm ready for this.
Well, and I wonder if the truck driver who was driving this, like, if he's trained with bees maybe a little bit, if something were to happen.
Right, he could step in.
Yeah.
Yeah, like worst case scenario, because you know a lot of bees aren't too necessarily that aggressive, but you do get, you know, some of hives that are they're aggressive hives, and you know, but some of them aren't, so as long as you're not bothering them. But man, what a sight to see right there, huh? All right, fans were actually lined up around the corner in Malibu. Take a look at this. You see them there at the home of rock and roll legend Tom Petty. It was this weekend where his wife Dana and their daughters held an estate sale. Now, you remember Petty, he died back in 2017. He was 66 years old. He died from an accidental drug overdose. And while they didn't have rock and roll memorabilia in this estate sale, I mean, it did have some of the things that were in Tom Petty's home.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. Now, I do wonder how many people went in there thinking that they could get some rock and roll memorabilia.
I don't know, but I do know that, like, if I lived close to this area, I would go. I would get a ticket for this just so I could kind of see where he lived,
Yeah,
you know?
for sure. And you know that there was some cool stuff in there.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I'm sure lamps, furniture, things like that, probably all custom, kind of had a rock and roll look to them.
Yeah.
You know there was some neat stuff in there.
I'm taking something home from Tom Petty's. $250 for a table? I mean,
That's not too bad.
I guess not.
Depends on the table. We didn't see the table. It looks like an outdoor one.
Yeah, but I would probably wait in line for it, too. I mean, the weather's not too bad there in Malibu, I imagine.
Beautiful.
I would say probably not. No, with how dry it's been, how warm it's been, I'd say waiting outside, spending a day waiting to get
Like,
inside
look at
Tom
that
Petty's
American
house.
flag pillow. That's pretty cool.
See, I would get that. Like, that
Yeah.
would be really
Too.
cool to put in
That's
your
neat.
walls.
I like that. All right, can you believe it? Mariah Carey is celebrating the 20th anniversary of her hit album, The Emancipation of Mimi, by releasing a commemorated 45-song box set. Now, were you guys big Mariah Carey fans?
I just really know all I want for Christmas is you.
I was gonna say, I figured they just, unwrapped her for Christmas and then wrapped her back up once Christmas ended.
Yeah,
I
there
also
you go.
know why he's so obsessed with me. That's a good song.
Yeah, this was a pretty big deal, and just like to kind of see this album, fans, sort of racing to get that, be once in a lifetime sort of chance to get all of this, which will be released later this month. Mariah Carey, the self-titled Mariah Carey, will turn 35 years old as well. So definitely a legend in her own right.
So she was young when she came out with the album. If she's just about to turn 35.
Yeah, no, it's that album will turn 35, which is
okay.
self-titled Mariah Carey.
I was gonna say too. I was gonna say
I was
she's
like,
only
what? I thought, how old is Mariah Carey?
Oh, she's got to be mid-50s, right?
You
60?
think?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
She looks
Still-
good. She's
oh,
aged
gosh.
well.
Amazing. All right. A town in northern Colombia transferred one of its main streets into a giant slide for locals and visitors. Take a look at this right here. The Becara, a town with 6,000 residents. They create this annually to attract visitors and just have a good time.
Yeah, how fun is this? Okay, if y'all were in town, you're visiting, you don't know anything about this, would you jump on the slide?
Absolutely.
I feel like you
Yeah.
have to.
I was gonna say, when else are you gonna come across a giant slide like that and
Yeah.
have the opportunity to do it freely, no judgment?
And
Yeah.
also, on top of that, like, what a story you have to go home and tell.
Right. But I just worry, like, what's underneath, because you remember the slip and slides when you were younger?
rocks.
Yes.
Rocks, whatever.
And you go face first,
Yeah.
body first.
Well, I mean, if it's a tradition, right? They've mapped this out before. That area must be pretty good for it, unless they switch it up every year.
Yeah.
But slip and slides were traditions too.
That's true. That's true, Tiffany. That's true. But we're also
Do you
kids.
remember at school when they would do the slip and slides, like in summer care programs and stuff, and they just do the big tarps,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
and they just put soap on them.
Yep. And then
And you'd bring your t-shirt and your swimsuit to wear underneath and all
Mm-hmm.
that for school, and you just run and jump on it.
I just remember being injured every single time.
but it was worth it.
Yeah, we were
Yeah.
invincible then.
It was. I used to put baby oil and just.
Oh.
Yeah, now if you do that now, oh, ow.
Yeah, definitely. All right, well, check this out. During the final round of the Memorial Tournament this weekend in Dublin, Ohio, golfer Jordan Spieth, he took a shot. Oh, did you see that? It was the first hole, and he almost took out some fans. So he was hitting his second shot in the rough next to the gallery, and he barely missed that one fan's head. And I was watching this video. I don't even see him say anything to the fan. Wouldn't you
I think
say?
at that point he was mad that he had such a bad shot. And so he just wanted to move on with his life.
Maybe so.
But this is kind of like normal. Like, you have to expect this. The guy who got second, Ben, we were watching it. He hit someone in the back. He like really went for it, and the guy like took his shirt off and was showing a spot to the cameras. It was like whelped up in the shape of a golf ball.
Yeah, I mean, obviously these are the professionals, the best of the best, but eventually they're going to mess up and have a bad swing. I mean, that looks like me on a golf basis, but for them, they said how close they get to be on the course, it's just kind of scary. If I was standing there, I would not want to stand there.
No, I'm thinking, whoever put up those ropes, why would you do that? No matter how good they are, you're in the line.
But they got to get people in there.
But it's very rare that they do things like that. I've been to one of these tournaments before, one of these golf tournaments, and you try to get as close as you can get.
Yeah.
Because you want to see them, you want to
true.
be up close to the players. And, I mean, it's like sitting courtside at a basketball game, right? You would do it if you had the chance, knowing that they might fall into you, that you might get hit by the ball. We cheered in high school. It's not any different. We were right there. I had a football player tackle me once on the sideline in college cheering.
Yeah, but the ball's not like moving at like how many miles per hour do they go?
Yeah, but I think that ball is a little less scary than a 250-pound defense player.
If that
who
ball
tackled
hits
me.
you in the head that close, like it's, it could be, I would say deadly.
Maybe you need a little helmet if you're going to be in the front. Bring a helmet in.
Yeah, I like that.
A
Okay.
little hard hat.
All right, in the Rays-Astros game this weekend, Rays Taylor Walls, he was ejected by home plate by umpire Nick Lentz. Have you seen this video? He was unhappy with the strike call. He started talking to the umpire, and then he taps his helmet. And this is, I think, where the ump gets mad right here, is he taps that helmet. What does that mean?
Yeah, so we were actually talking about this. So in the minor leagues and now spring training, what they're doing is they're instituting this technology called the automated balls and strikes system. So for years upon years, there's always been a discussion, do we bring in technology to help call the balls and strikes? So the minor leagues have it, and then they tried it in spring training. They use that Hawkeye technology. If you ever watched
some anger problems.
Yes, I was going to say, he's a little bit of a hothead. The manager also sticking up for his guy, so I appreciate that.
But this part, wait, when they have to hold him back?
He comes back.
Oh, yeah,
That's wild.
Now, I don't think he made contact with an umpire, but if they ever do, that's an automatic suspension. But this system, so they're, do you bring in technology to the game? So during spring training, what they did was you would tap your helmet if you didn't think it was a strike, or you would challenge the call. So you didn't say that was a strike, so you tap the helmet. Well, that's not officially in the league yet. So the ump saw that as a diss to him and said, well, the call's what it is. Now, should the ump have thrown him out? Probably not. It's a tough call. Pitches are coming at 80, 90 miles an hour. You only have 0.3 of a second to react. And sometimes they get a little bit of a big head. But at the same time, if you're Taylor Walls, let it go.
Calm it down.
It's
just a little
game
bit.
80 out of 162. You'll be okay.
Yeah.
But that's why the tap of the helmet, that's what really irked the ump.
Yeah, I was just like, that could probably just calm down a little bit. Like, it's just a tap.
But I'm wondering if he was that mad, if things have been happening kind of throughout the
Well,
game.
and that's the thing, too, is if you have and that's the thing we don't know. I didn't watch this game, but usually, like, throughout the game, if a couple calls don't go his way, like you said, it builds up. Because I think this was in the 6th or 7th inning, so like you said, it's not in the first inning. After you have about 10 calls, and you really get mad.
Yeah, definitely so. All right, but was great news on our side from the Diamond Hogs. Arkansas baseball advancing to the Super Regional round.
Yeah, the last time they did this 2022. The Diamond Hogs, they took down Creighton in the regional final 8-3. It all started off with some good pitching from Gage Wood, who ended up with a career-high 13 strikeouts. Creighton would get on board with a 3-run home run in the 4th, but would be shut out by the Diamond Hogs. Now Arkansas will host the winner of the Knoxville Regional later this week. And this is huge. The Hogs, they need to get a national win. We're still making up from 2018. And if it doesn't happen soon, guys, people are going to think we're cursed.
I don't want to rub it in, but like, what happened in 2018? Well, how far did they get? You don't have to explain it.
We were in the game.
Oh,
we won the game,
champion.
and it was it.
Okay.
The championship.
Okay.
3 people missed the ball.
Okay,
That should have been caught.
all right. We don't have to rub that in, but I did
No, we
see.
don't want to talk about it.
But the good news is for them is, okay, you don't want to look too far, obviously, but Vanderbilt, who was number 1, they lost. And Texas, who was number 2, they lost.
And
So-
Tennessee lost to Wake Forest, and now they're in a
Yes, so
game.
Arkansas is now the highest remaining seed. But again, you still have to play the games, still got some tough teams ahead. But the path is theirs to set out for that championship, like you
Oh,
said.
yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to do it, but we're not going to jinx it. We're just going to take it day by day, right? Okay, but here's the good news, guys. This is fun. Another Arkansas team has also advanced in regionals as well. The UALR Trojans, that's University of Little Rock for people who don't know, They were facing elimination for the second consecutive game, but they kept their season alive. They won yesterday against LSU. And so now they'll be playing again today. And if they win, they'll also go to Super Regionals, which means we'll have 2 Arkansas teams in there. And this is the first time that they've ever made it this far in school history.
Well, that's awesome to say, especially because some of those smaller schools, you get, how often do you get a chance like this? You win your conference, so you get that automatic bid, and it might be a while before you come back. So
maybe it's just Arkansas's year.
It is. I think it is. My parents went to ALR, so we want them to do well. Razorbacks, we also want them to do well. But hey, we just want an Arkansas team, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, have you heard about this? All of the smoke coming out of Canada, they're putting out a call for massive battle help for preseason wildfires. They have over 180 burning right now, 90 of them out of control. Thousands of people there in that area. They've been evacuated. They're actually using a hockey arena to temporarily house evacuees. Like, that's how bad it is right now.
Yeah, so this is causing the smoke to accumulate in the U's, causing hazy skies around the area. Even Arkansas, which is almost 1,000 miles away, as you know.
But you were talking about that earlier.
Right, and so these wildfires, I mean, it seems like every year, unfortunately, we're talking about this, whether it be in Canada or the West Coast, and again, that warm air, it rises, and then the middle of the atmosphere, it's about 2 to 3 miles ahead. Wherever that wind blows, that's where the smoke's gonna go. It kind of seems tough to fathom at first, like really to come for that far, but there's nothing really to break up the smoke, so since it was moving out of the north this past weekend, that's why we saw that smoke. Thankfully, it didn't reach the surface. It will start to kind of blow away, but unfortunately, there's not a lot of rain in the forecast up there in Canada. And what's tough as well is when that rain does return, that's great. But if lightning strikes, it's so dry that could cause another fire. So it's just kind of a vicious cycle. So hopefully they can get it out very soon, just for obviously the fires up there, and then that smoke can stay out of there as well.
Well, on the other hand, here at home in Arkansas, we can't get enough of this rain.
I know, it's been very consistent, and again, there's obviously good and bad with that. Obviously, you don't want to be in a drought because we've had periods of drought. But yeah, the rain now, what's the concern is on the opposite side is the spectrum is flooding. So thankfully, the good news is rain totals have trended down a little bit over the past couple of days, and it's pretty spread out. So it's not like the majority of the rain comes on one day in 2 or 3 hours. It's going to be spread out on and off throughout the week, so that's some good news there. Again, today is going to be beautiful. The best storm chance, I think, all week is for right now is going to be Tuesday night into early Wednesday. That's where we maybe could see some strong, severe storms, mainly for areas far north and west. Could see some damaging wind gusts, but doesn't look to be widespread. And that tornado chance looks to be rather low. So again, we'll continue to update for you Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, and then of course throughout the week what those rain chances are looking like. But again, we're kicking off June just like we left off in May. Very wet, but now this time it's a little bit warmer, and it is going to be a little bit muggy. So your typical June with just a little bit more rainfall.
All right, got it. Make sure you grab that umbrella. Just keep it handy this week. You're going to need it. Thanks so much for joining us here on the Daily Brew. We'll see you right back here tomorrow.
7 a.m. See you then.